Hello and welcome back to the When You're Podcast, the podcast for when you're doing anything. Today we're talking about when you're watching Kung Fu Panda 4. This fourth movie, I don't know. Listen, I felt like the way that they ended Kung Fu Panda 3 was like, that's it, you know what I mean? I thought that was a good farewell, but I guess where money can be made, they will try again. Do I think this fourth movie is necessary? No, but who cares what I think? You know what I'm saying? Nobody at DreamWorks listens to me. So, is there a part of me that wishes they didn't make a fourth movie? Yes, but I feel like if they were going to do a fourth movie, they should do it like a specific way, or there needed to be a story to tell, essentially. So I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of not missed opportunities. I feel like there are a lot of moments in the movie that had real potential, but they just kind of fell a little flat. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really connect with it, or it moved along pretty quickly for me to really absorb it. But maybe that has more to do with like my how I perceive like storytelling should be. Like, do I think storytelling should be a lot more drawn out, you know, for me to really care about and connect with the characters? Whereas like when I was a kid, I just kind of went with it, right? Like I didn't question a lot of stuff as a kid, and then I watch it now and I'm just like, yeah, that did happen pretty quickly, but overall I kind of like believe their bond a little bit easier. In this movie, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's very rushed. So anyways, we kind of start the movie off getting a glimpse of Po. Well, we start the movie with a little nod to Tai Lung coming back with the chameleon impersonating him. And then we get Po. And Po kind of just shows us life as the Dragon Warrior, what he kind of always dreamed of his life to be, which is like going on adventures, fighting bad guys, doing crazy stuff, saving people, being a part of the Furious Five, like all of them doing their thing. And the glimpse of the Dragon Warrior life kind of gets, what's it called? I don't want to say glossed over because we kind of already know what he does, but I kind of wanted a little bit more slice of life, like his new life kind of a feel, you know? Because he is fully realized as the Dragon Warrior, you know? He is kind of, I don't want to say perfect, but he is kind of like the best at what he does now, you know what I mean? There's nobody who can really go toe to toe with him and like fully defeat him when he's like trying, you know what I mean? Except for like, I mean, obviously Shifu can fight on par with him. Tigress, I feel, can fight on par with him. There are a lot of masters that are capable of fighting on par with him. It's just that I don't feel, or I don't believe that if they were serious about it, and if it's like really depended, like the balance of the world depended on it, Po would come out on top, you know what I mean? Now maybe that's just plot armor, or like character armors, is like he has to win every single time, but hey, I get it. Anyways, we kind of just get a look at his adventures and what he does, and I just wish I got a little bit more of that. I want to see him helping people and how that kind of all balances out. And I guess they do show that, you know, they do put that into see what he does, you know. But they did that a little later in the movie. But anyways, and another thing about this movie that bothered me was there's no Furious Five. Okay, now this isn't necessarily a bad thing. So I was like, oh, there's no Furious Five in this movie, it's gonna suck. I was partially correct. The Furious Five come in later, but I feel like for the most part, when I went back and I watched Kung Fu Panda 1, when I watch the other Kung Fu Panda movies, the Furious Five kind of get sidelined a lot. I mean, they definitely have some highlighted good moments, but they're not as important to the plot. You know what I mean? Whereas when I watch Kung Fu Panda 2, I feel like they were really a team. They were really in it together. Kung Fu Panda 3 kind of left Pogo on his own, and then Tigers had to like come back later on her on by herself. So I kind of feel like they got sidelined. And then in this movie, they're not there at all, which is like, I guess it's better to help or put the idea that Poe is capable on his own. That and there are other things that need help, but it also kind of tells us that, it tells us that the actors didn't want to come on for this next movie, but it's also kind of like that, what is it? It feels like the other, whatchamacallit? It helps so that way the other characters don't feel sidelined, right? Like, oh, they're not in the movie, not because they're bad or because they're not good characters. It's because that they usually just get pushed off to the side and nobody, you know what I mean? They don't want to do that again. So it's kind of like, we're just focusing on Poe this time. And I like that. I just feel like I missed the Furious Five. I feel like they were an important team. And I guess that speaks more to the villain than it does to them. Because it's kind of like, if it was a really big and difficult villain, then the Furious Five would take it on together. You know what I mean? Like Lord Shen, you know? But anyways, we learn about Poe, and we learn that he's trying to figure out the next step in his life. It's not just going to be what he thinks it's going to be, which is protecting the valley and fighting and kung fu and stuff. And we kind of have to understand, like, Poe, who is Poe the Dragon Warrior? And now that he's the Dragon Warrior, he can't be the Dragon Warrior forever. You know what I'm saying? So now comes the weird part, or the next step, which is, I guess what they're trying to do is like, they have to change, or they have to make a new main character, or there has to be somebody to take over his mantle, because he's not going to be there forever. So Master Shifu kind of puts it in perspective and says, listen, you're not going to be the Dragon Warrior forever. You know, you have to pass the mantle on to somebody. You need a successor. And then you're going to do what Master Oogway did, which is go all across China and spread wisdom and knowledge and so forth. That's why he chose you. That's why you're the Dragon Warrior now. And I was just kind of like, well, that doesn't sound fun. That doesn't sound, that it's speaks more. It's not okay. Not that it doesn't sound fun. It's just that the fact that Poe doesn't like that as a part of his life, or something that he wants to do in his life, is kind of the reason why I don't like it for him. Is because all we've known Poe to be is this very lovable goofball who fights and does kung fu. Like that's kind of what he does. That's what he wants to be. That's what we see in the Dragon Warrior, is that he's this hopeful, funny, lovable person. And now Shifu's kind of trying to push it away from him. And I honestly have no idea what the full weight or the full responsibility of being the Dragon Warrior is, but it's kind of a mantle that was pushed onto him. And, well, not pushed, but he was chosen for. And we never really got any, like, real lore behind it, or, like, what exactly it was all supposed to be. But technically, he's already fulfilled it by mastering Chi, teaching other people. He's capable of teaching. And I saw that at the end of Kung Fu Panda 3, which is why in this fourth one, when Master Shifu said he was no longer training the Furious Five and Poe. Oh, no. That was the third one. What am I talking about? Okay, whatever. I'm out of my mind. I'm confusing Kung Fu Panda 3 with Kung Fu Panda 4. What am I doing? Anyways, we see that he's capable of teaching, but now in this new one, they're just basically saying, "Yeah, you're done being the Dragon Warrior. That's it." And to be fair, there is like almost, he's been the Dragon Warrior for a long time. Since the first movie, so it's been over a decade, right? He's like kind of been Dragon Warrior for 10 plus years. So I don't want to say it's like a bad idea. I just feel like it's something that needs to be passed on in like old age, not like because he is now where he's like pretty young, still doing his own thing. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, Master Shifu says it, so it's kind of like him pushing change onto Poe. And I don't know, I not that I didn't like it, it was just kind of like, I didn't. Is it needed? Does he need to find a successor? Does he need to find somebody to take his place? And I just was watching the movie and I kind of told myself yes and no. I feel like there needs to be somebody. I feel like we needed more. Not a new Dragon Warrior per se, but a new kind of warrior. I think he definitely needs somebody to not take up the Dragon Warrior mantle, but maybe a student, maybe somebody who can become their own warrior, maybe somebody who he can learn and travel with, like, you know what I mean? Like there needs to be somebody who can maybe balance him out a little bit more. I don't know. It feels like maybe there should be a bigger conflict that Poe alone can't handle, and that the Furious Five, even with him working as a team, they can't handle together. It needs to be more of like, we need more kung fu masters and warriors that we don't really have anymore. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the wrong way to look at it, because in the movie they do like this they do this demonstration for Poe to select the next Dragon Warrior, and him and Master Shifu see all of their skills, and there are a lot of them who are talented, but Poe end up not like choosing any of them. So it's not that there's a lack of people to do kung fu, it's more so that there's no, it doesn't feel like it's really necessary or needed. Like, you don't need it. Does that make sense? I feel like it was something that was pushed onto him that I don't really believe. I feel like there should be something else that happens. Somebody else who gets like the spotlight, right? No more Dragon Warrior. Like the Dragon Warrior, that's what it should have been. The Dragon Warrior has been like the main guy, like top tier person. But now somebody else has to get the spotlight. Somebody else is going to be a kung fu prodigy. Somebody else is going to be right there at the beginning. You know what I mean? Whereas Poe, he had to struggle to get to where he is, right? He had to train, and he had to really focus on it. Whereas other people were just naturally gifted. And I feel like that's where the duality may have come from. You know what I mean? In a way that, I mean, Tai Lung also had to train too, but I don't know. I just feel like it makes sense that they're introducing a new character. I just don't like that they're taking Poe's position, I guess. But Poe is still going to be Poe. So, but anyways, the big theme that they're trying to push in this movie is change. Can you accept change? Are you willing to change yourself? Do you want to change? And all of those things. And for some reason, for Poe, I feel pretty stubborn in who he is. I feel like I already know kind of what he's about. He is capable of being silly and funny and immature, but he kind of balances it well with his responsibility and who he is. And I feel like that was really evident in the second one, where he was like conflicted with himself but he was still able to have a laugh or to make jokes or to be who he is internally. You know what I'm saying? And I completely get Poe's reluctance to like pass the Dragon Warrior mantle on to somebody else, because for so long he was chosen for this, and now it's hard to find somebody else to choose next. How do you know who you've chosen? And so on and so forth. But that leads us to the next new character who shines in this movie. I forget their name, but voiced by Aquafina. It's the fox. That's literally all I don't remember the fox's name, but they're essentially a fox thief, and she's caught by Poe stealing stuff from the Jade Palace, and Poe beats her, like not like brutally. And at first I thought she was going to get away. Like I was almost like, oh snap, like her cunning and swift moves are what's going to like keep her from, I mean, let me slow down. I thought that the writers or the movie was going to make it her like this super badass, crazy cool, super swift and cunning fox who can like outmaneuver even the Dragon Warrior Poe. And that was sort of true. And I was a little afraid that like she was going to beat Poe and take all of the stuff from the Jade Palace. But that didn't happen. Poe beat her despite all of that. And I really liked that. They put her in jail. And I thought that was kind of, I don't know. I just liked it. I liked that he got that win. You know what I mean? And because I was a little afraid they were going to make him lose so that she could be like an important character, but he beats her and they still keep her as like an important character. So, and throughout the movie, their dynamic is, again, their dynamic didn't really affect me all that much. I like Poe. Like, I just like Poe. And I feel like he gets along with everybody, but with her, I didn't really feel like there was a lot, but they do have some cute or cool. There's a really cute moment that the fox does. So she's like hungry and Poe has like this cookie and she's like, what's the scam? What's the scheme? You're just going to give me the cookie without, she's like, you're just going to give me the cookie without any kind of con behind it. Like, I'm hungry. You have to like scam me or scheme me, or it's like, it's a poisonous cookie. What is it? And she's kind of skeptical of him at first because she sees kind of the bad in everybody, or is like, she thinks everybody's like her, out to get her or steal from her or whatnot, con her. And he's just like, do you want the cookie or not? And so she takes the cookie and then she bites it and then and she's like, I got my eye on you. That felt like that was a really cute moment that they had. And it also shows Poe's generosity and his kindness, which we already know, but it was kind of for her to see for the first time. And that kind of moment was nice, but then they kind of just made it like seem like quick connection. Like now they're best friends, or like now they're buddy with each other, and they're really cool for each other. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, not really. Like that's just Poe. But whatever. Now we get into the antagonist, the chameleon, and throughout the reason why she gets out of jail is because she's taking him to the chameleon and they have to get to the city. And in order to get there, they kind of have to find a boat to get to the city and they'll sail over there. So they go into this bar and, well, the fox scams everybody and schemes and takes money and whatnot. So now Poe has to like deal with it, and the choreography, the animation in this movie is really nice. It's really, really good, but I just wish that there was a little bit more to the bar fight. I wish Poe was like a little bit more cool as the Dragon Warrior. You know what I mean? But hey, it's nice. It was a nice moment. And then I like the bar setting, or like how they set the bar up. I thought it was pretty funny. They they do they do revisit the bar later on when Poe's fathers, the panda and the goose, Mr. Ping, they both come to find Poe because he's in danger, or he's putting his life at risk. So they both get back into the bar, and Poe kind of messes up the bar, but he doesn't destroy it completely. And then his fathers come and destroy the bar completely. It's pretty funny. It's a nice moment. But anyways, they find Poe and the fox find this pelican, and dude, this pelican, man. Let me tell you, this pelican and fish combo going on, because the pelican is kind of like at the bar drinking stuff, and it's pretty derpy, like pretty just a bird pelican. And then the fish is in the inside of the pelican's mouth. So think of Finding Nemo, where they get into the bird's mouth and then they just kind of like hang out in there. You know what I'm saying? That's essentially the dynamic. And the pelican is a woman. It's a mom to the fish. So that's the kind of dynamic that they have. And then the fish is like a man. But anyways, that was probably my favorite new silly character that they brought in, the pelican and the fish. I don't know what it was. I just liked the design of it. I thought it was derpy and funny and cute at the same time. I just really liked it, you know. I liked that dynamic that they had. But anyways, they get to the city and they have to avoid the cops. So they go underground where they find a bunch of other scammers, or like a whole other village of people who live down there and are wanted, and they just come up to the surface and take what they need to survive. And I thought that was a nice kind of example of kind of where the city is, or like how it's made to be, right? Like the city is made for people who are very wealthy or good at the top, and then at the bottom you have the low lives, but they're also people too, and they have value. And we'll see that value soon. So essentially the chameleon is stealing other people's kung fu because she was rejected from learning kung fu or becoming a part of kung fu, and she was like, I'm going to focus on witchcraft and sorcery, and now I have the magic to take people's kung fu from them, but now I just need to open a gate to the spirit realm to take their kung fu. And we see that happen with Tai Lung. She takes Tai Lung's kung fu and traps him in the physical world. She does the same with Lord Shen and the other kung fu masters who are in the spirit realm who have passed away. No Master Oogway though, which I liked. No, none of that. And Poe was kind of seeing everybody getting their kung fu taken away. Like, he saw Lord Shen, and I was kind of like surprised he didn't raise his eyebrows and be like, Lord Shen? Why did he, what? Like, that didn't make any sense to me. Like, Lord Shen basically was crushed by a big thing, whereas Tai Lung makes sense. He whooshy finger holded him, you know what I'm saying? He whooshy finger holded Kai and Tai Lung. Like, those two make sense to be in the spirit realm, but Lord Shen, I was kind of like, what? You know, it didn't make any sense to me, but they brought him back, and then Poe didn't have any reaction. He was just kind of like, Lord Shen. And I was like, that's the guy who murdered your mom, bro. Like, can't you know, I don't know. I just was kind of like, he should be a little bit more like, oh my gosh, Lord Shen. But I guess he has inner peace. He doesn't care about it. So anyways, the chameleon takes all of the people's kung fu, and then surprise, the fox works for the chameleon, raised her to be the thief that she is. And now she's like, but now I'm a good guy, and I care about Poe after this journey we took on together. He really cares about me and people, and he's a good person, and he's going to lose. So then Poe and the fox basically beat the chameleon, and then Tai Lung takes the chameleon to the spirit realm, and so that's like death metaphor. And then after all of that, Poe decides this fox is the next dragon warrior, and the Furious Five come at the end, and they're like doing a training montage, and that was kind of where it ended. And there's so much I'm missing or not saying about this movie, but overall, I feel like there was so much missing in this movie. I feel like there was so much that there were a lot of things I didn't like. I felt like Poe was they made Poe a little too silly or too stupid, or they made him have like too many cute little like inner monologues or questions and whatnot. I missed the Furious Five. I wish the Fox and Poe had a lot more moments to like really show off that they're friends. I thought that Shifu should take Master Uguay's place. Like, that made sense to me. Like, there's this point where Poe is talking to the people underground at the new city. He's like, "You've never heard of Poe, the Dragon Warrior?" They're like, "No." He's like, "What about Master Shifu?" And they're like, "Yeah, everybody knows Master Shifu." So that I thought that would flip a switch in Poe's brain to be like, Master Oogway chose me, and now I'm choosing you, Master Shifu, to go off and spread wisdom and knowledge because everybody knows you. Everybody likes you. You're a master of Kung Fu. Like, that could be your job. That's something that you can do. And you're going to defy me, the person who Oogway chose? Oogway chose me, and I choose you, and you're going to defy Master Oogway? Like, I thought that was going to be the dynamic. I thought that was going to be the ending. Like, Poe doesn't have to change, but he can find somebody to train, a student or a successor, you know what I mean? Something that he chooses to do. But instead, it's like, she's going to be the Dragon Warrior, and Poe's going to accept his new role as spreading wisdom. And I don't know, something about that just didn't fit with me. But in the end, I did like seeing Poe. I did like seeing the Kung Fu. I like that pelican and fish. And they're saying there's going to be a fifth one. So hopefully they do that one better. But anyways, that was Kung Fu Panda 4. And when you're watching Kung Fu Panda 4, I want to say when you're watching it, appreciate it. I would say just appreciate seeing Poe, like just appreciate seeing this character evolve so many times, or like figuring out new things to do with it. I may not like it, but it is kind of nice to see my childhood or characters that I grew up watching still having relevancy in my life, or relevance in my life, or something that I can take from it. You know what I mean? But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.